things that we do when we have an election with a mayor is we sit down and we come up with a strategic plan. And the council's goal is to put together a strategic plan, and then we work with our city administrator and our staff to carry out those goals. Now, if you've met me over the last few years since I've become a council member and then mayor, I talked a lot about creating a place where we can live, work, and play. And so what does that mean? And you think about what is your city, what should your city do for you? Well, there's two main things. We really need to always make sure that we're looking out for public safety, and also what are we doing to protect the infrastructure that we have? And those always have to be the priority. Okay, that's what your cities owe you. But we also want to make sure it is a vibrant community where business happens. And so we've broken these down into like what they actually mean. So with LIVE, protect our public assets and infrastructure by making calculated and deliberate investments in our assets. Too many years, things, when they don't get taken care of and then gets kicked down the can gets kicked down the road, you run into bigger and bigger problems later on. You all know that if you own a house or a car, you got to take care of the maintenance. We want to make sure we have a place to work. We want to make sure that there's fiscal sustainability. We've got to leverage the operating position of the city to seize strategic operations for improving quality of life and maintaining fiscal practices. And we really want to make sure that we have a vibrant community. This is where we can use the amenities and growth mindset to create a warm and welcoming environment, again, for people to live, work, and play. So as we continue to break that down, how this presentation today is organized is we take those goals, that strategic goal setting, and then we look at the different departments. What are they doing to carry out these specific tasks? So under LIVE, we're continuing again to work with the maintenance schedule of the fire department, including the purchase of a new ladder truck. Boy, that was a shocker when I first got on council to figure out how expensive those are. $1.5 million. So you really need to make sure that you figure out a way to plan for that. Then we have the police department, and we need to make sure that we are taking care of them so that they're in a safe vehicle. I was listening to the chief of police speak earlier this week, and you see the stuff that is out there. Oh, there's the new trucks from the fire department, or there's the new cars from the police department. And what many people don't realize is that those cars are running, maybe not a lot of miles, but it's running to charge the equipment in them. It's running as they're waiting on calls. So when you're looking at making sure you're taking care of that fleet, it's not just making sure like, okay, does it have low miles, but how many hours are on that motor? How many hours is on the engine? So I love learning all of this new stuff. We want to make sure to develop a strategic longevity plan to keep the pool operational. As many people are aware that there was a wonderful levy passed for the pool. That was a 5-year operational levy, and that allowed the city of North Bend to make sure that we were taking care of the infrastructure inside, but we also knew that that was a 5-year plan, and that would give us time to kind of think, what does the future look like for the North Bend pool? We need to have a conversation about that, but not today. Something that we are planning for. Develop a strategic longevity again for the operation of the pool. Continue the goal of renovations and repair to also the North Bend Public Library. If you have not stopped by a library recently, I really urge you to do so. I think in the back of people's minds, they think, maybe I'm reading on my Kindle or whatever that looks like electronically, or I listen to books on tape, and they don't realize all the services that our library offers. There's a seed library that you could go to if you wanted to plant something. You can check out an Instapot. There's wonderful teen programs. So when you really are thinking about a library, it's not just these hard books. It's a place where community, and it happens. So go check out your local library and support them. We also, when we look at the work fiscal sustainability, we really need to leverage the operating positions of the city to seize strategic opportunities for improving quality of life while maintaining those fiscal practices. While the key point on this one here is determine additional long-term funding for the city. Now, Joe and I kind of joke, we recently did a chamber presentation, or actually it was the leadership cruise, and we need to be really honest and open with you about what the financial status is. And it sometimes can feel really bleak, right? It's common knowledge that what we bring in for property taxes is not enough to cover our public safety. That can feel really heavy and really frustrating, but I want you to know that our city is working extremely hard to make sure that our residents are receiving the services that they want. And how that they are doing that is looking for long-term sustainability. Some of that becomes in grants. And you're going to see here in a couple slides that we're really excited to announce the amount of grants that are coming in, but we also know that grants are very limited. And so these are all things that we need to look at. We know one thing that we can do is try to create a space where businesses can thrive. But we're looking at a few other things too. We're performing a sewer and rate study and present options to potentially increase fees to sustain the aging infrastructure. Again, we've got to take care of the infrastructure that we have. If you kick that can down the road, it's just going to be more expensive down the road. So again, that completing the annex workforce housing project. So if you drive by the annex and you're wondering, when is this getting torn down? It's going to be soon. Okay, probably in the next 12 months, we're going to see that torn down and a housing project will be there, and that'll help with us continuing to increase the vibrant downtown area. Under vibrant, this is something that I'm really looking forward to. You've heard probably a presentation or two, maybe from our Main Street manager, talking about some of the projects that are happening downtown. Well, one of them is to create a pocket park at Sherman in California to include restrooms and, picture it with me, a big I, heart, and B, okay? I mean, can you picture the selfies already? Like, people come in town and they're already taking pictures in front of the mural. Now they're gonna have lots of reasons to get out of the car, just like if you've traveled and you've seen like the signs in Philly, or when we lived in Amsterdam, there was the I am Amsterdam sign. We're creating a space where people will like to come and they visit. And if they enjoy the place that they're visiting, it becomes a place that they want to come and live. And if it is a place that they want to come and live, it's a place that business happens and thrives and the economic wheel turns. There's also a fish cleaning station at California Street Boat Ramp, a student youth advisory council that we've been working on trying to get going. There's adding the 200 amp service for Grant Circle for city events. There's been a lot of activity over the last couple years as we kind of came out of COVID, and sometimes those extension cords are just not long enough for the things that we want to do downtown, so we got to work on some of the infrastructure there and create a defensible space and clear invasives in city parks. So happy to announce, so many people have asked us over the years, is that July Jubilee is returning in the city of North Bend, and I want a big round of applause for that one. The last one we held must have been 2019, so we're rebranding the event, working with a lot of community partners, and also recognizing that times are different now, all right? I just told you that funds are really tight. So we're trying to work with community partners, coupling with some events that are happening. I think that the weekend that we picked is Margaritaville here at the Mill Casino, and that was purposeful because we want a lot of activity. So when you start looking at your calendar the weekend after the 4th of July, just plan to stay in town. You're gonna be so busy, there's gonna be so many different things to do, and we can't wait for you to be part of it. Okay, so this is the big number that I was really excited to share with you. If you have a certain amount of money coming into your budget that is not enough to pay for your expenses, but you have a council and a mayor and a city administrator that want to deliver all these other things, what do you do? Well, you look for ways to increase your revenue stream. You look for a city manager who really believes in applying for grants and has a very willing department staff that will help him do so. We do not have a full-time grant writer on our staff. We have David Milliron and a really willing department heads who he works with. And so you look at over the years here in 2020, how much we received that year in grants to what fiscal year 2023, 2024 was with over $4 million. That's $12 million in grant. And the reason why this number is so important is because our general fund is $6 million. So we doubled what our general fund is to make sure that the citizens of North Bend can get the things that they need. All right, going through a few other things here, I just want to point out that, again, trying to make sure that we reach the goals that the council set is the fire department. We worked with some of that grant funding to get the rapid response vehicle fire trucks, and that arrived literally yesterday, and so you're going to see that out. This is really going to help. Every time you take those fire engines that cost $1.5 million, it's time on the engine and it's wear and tear. And so this will end up saving the fire department money in the long run, because the rapid response vehicle can end up really going to a scene without so much wear and tear on those larger vehicles. We're also making sure that we're being really good stewards of our public library and taking some dollars for the HVAC system. We have a social worker to help community members there. We're using some of the funds to take care of some other programs that we want with early literacy and all sorts of things going on there at the library. Again, look at the things that are listed here: sensory support kits, web and marketing upgrades, and a Dolly Parton imagination library. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going to go check it out now. So we also have the Main Street Urban Renewal and Tourism kind of department of the city, and I've got a couple pictures here that I really want to point out. Anybody recognize that building on the left there? What is that? It's an old dry cleaner, okay? It's an old dry cleaner. And the city of North Bend was able to use, and so this is a mock-up picture, but the city of North Bend was able to use urban renewal dollars to purchase that building and to do exactly what UR dollars are meant to be, okay? URA is meant to eliminate blight. So we are working with another business. That building will eventually be redesigned, and we're hoping that it'll end up being a tortilla factory. Apparently there is a lot of restaurants in town that will travel up to 3 hours out of the way to go purchase a tortilla. So there is a business opportunity for another business to take this building that was once blight, get it redesigned, and the estimates are to put up to 20 people to work on that. So you'll be hearing more about that this year. Other things that the Main Street Urban Renewal kind of tourism arm was able to help with through the Main Street program, they helped the Liberty Theater apply for a grant close to $200,000, and this helped them get what they like to call the crowning jewel on the Liberty Theater. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's so beautiful. It's a neon blade. It says Liberty, and when the theater is happening, there's little red lights that light up. So we're really excited about that. When you're not ice skating, because I know I saw a lot of you there this year, when you're not ice skating then because ice skating goes till about the end of February, so right after Valentine's Day, that turns into an event tent. And there's going to be, like, for example, during the July Jubilee, we're going to have the sip and stroll, and then we'll have the after stroll event there. There's other concerts, musics, and that event tent can be used for all sorts of things. That ice skating rink, this is pretty amazing. 5,000 visitors from 70 different zip codes. 5,000 visitors from 70 different zip codes. So our intentions then is to increase tourism and business sales. And so it is a seasonal event that goes from December until February, but that tent is used for all sorts of things. So those numbers will even continue to increase as we build upon the different events. And also realized too that was not any money that was out of the taxpayers' pocket too. Those were all done with special grants and was able to bring a lot of joy to smiling faces. Other things that happened this year, we launched the Micro Mule Grant Program. This is another really neat thing if you're driving through North Bend. We've got Books by the Bay that took advantage of that micro grant, and the owner Harold teamed up with a talented artist called Patrick Erm of Artworks Unlimited to paint a really captivating mural on the building, and so it's called the Whale Hugger. We have, we really do keep track of the amount of people that are coming through these programs so that we can see if it is to make sure that it's paying off. And North Main Street alone hosted, these events, bringing over 4,000 people downtown. And these are everything from the candy crawls that they do, and you've probably heard of some of the other events that we did throughout the year. Parks and Recreation, we've got pickleball courts that we're working on, planning to make sure that we are still taking care of the infrastructure and upgrades and summer program at the pool. So I'm going to kind of pause here on the police department. I've got some hot off the press information that I want to share. So our police department, we have our community resource officer, our community service officers, our patrols, and they have really made an effort over the last year to make some changes. And I have a number in front of me that says that assaults are down 30%. Burglary is down 39%. Criminal trespassing is down 15%. Theft is down 16%. Unlawful entry motor vehicle down 11%. And overdoses down 18.5%. I can officially say that crime in the city of North Bend is down. And that deserves a round of applause. And we are so thankful to all of everybody who works in public service. And why he does, I'll just talk about one more thing while he's coming on up, and that was our public works. And so we're making sure that we are using those grant dollars for storm and sanitary sewer infrastructure replacement and upgrades. We are also looking at our housing needs analysis, environmental site assessments and hazardous materials surveys at the shuttered and blighted Coos County Annex as well. So I know we're both doing lots of work in our cities. And again, that $12 million, so with our city administrator saying this, that all those things that were listed were grant funded, $12 million on a city that has a general fund of $6 million. So again, back to the city staff and the department heads for working so hard and embracing. Grants are tricky, we know that it's hard. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't get them, and it's limited funds. So thank you so much to the city of North Bend for working to make sure that they're